Have you ever felt like your mistakes are like a heavy rock, not only weighing on your shoulders, but also blocking all your efforts to move forward? That is the constant feeling that many people have to face when life puts them in front of challenges. But stop for a moment and think, are mistakes really as scary as we think? There is an interesting and inspiring truth that not everyone realizes. Mistakes are not the end, but important turning points that open up new opportunities. Imagine life as a big picture, and each of our decisions and actions are brush strokes on that picture. Mistakes, if viewed correctly, are not errors that need to be erased, but opportunities to create unique touches, beautify the work of life. So how do we face, correct, and even turn mistakes into motivation? Today, let's go through a journey of discovery. What mistakes really mean in life and personal development. Specific steps to face mistakes and turn them into learning opportunities. And finally, how to use lessons from mistakes to grow and improve yourself every day. What are mistakes really? Mistakes, on the surface, are times when we make decisions that do not lead to the desired results. But when we reflect deeper, mistakes are not simply wrong. They are a manifestation of daring to experiment, daring to act, and sometimes the result of learning in uncertain environments. Thomas Edison, who tried thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about failing too much, he replied, "I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work." Mistakes are not failures if we learn from them. Mistakes are also part of the journey of self-discovery. Every time we stumble, we have the opportunity to look back at ourselves, analyze what went wrong, and clarify our core values. Only those who never try never make mistakes. And is a life without mistakes really worth it? Mistakes are an inevitable part of life. From the first steps of a child to the faulty strategies of great leaders, we all face moments of stumbling. What matters is not whether we make mistakes, but how we learn and grow from them. But why do mistakes happen, and what role do they play in the human journey? Humans, according to Buddhist teachings, are governed by ignorance, a state of not fully perceiving or understanding the nature of reality. This makes us susceptible to making mistakes, from poor judgments to harmful actions. A good illustration is the love of parents for their children. This love, although well-intentioned, sometimes leads parents to impose their personal desires on their children, ignoring their true needs. It is this blindness caused by excessive love that inadvertently creates psychological wounds. This reflects the contradictory nature of human beings. We want good things, but are easily blinded by strong emotions. This is why awareness and mindfulness practice become important. When we see ourselves and what is happening around us clearly, we can minimize unnecessary mistakes. Greed or desire is the root of many mistakes in life. When dominated by excessive ambition, people often make rash decisions. An investor, because of his desire for huge profits, ignored the signs of risk in a project, leading to serious financial failure. But the problem is not limited to finances. Desire also appears in relationships, work, and even spiritual life. Ambition is not a bad thing if it is controlled and directed towards positive goals. However, when ambition becomes obsessive, it will cause us to lose balance. Practicing mindfulness not only helps control greed, but also helps us realize the true value of what we have, instead of chasing after uncertain things. Anger is a powerful emotion and is often difficult to control. When anger flares up, people easily act on instinct, ignoring reason and consequences. Imagine a small argument between two close friends. If both are not calm enough to listen and understand each other, this relationship can be broken forever. Anger, like fire, not only burns the relationship, but also hurts the person who carries it. Anger is a profound lesson in self-control. A person who understands the nature of anger will not let it control his actions. Instead, he learns to transform negative energy into sympathy and patience. Mistakes are not the end, but an opportunity to look back, adjust, and move forward. The Japanese art of kintsugi, where cracks in a vase are repaired with gold, demonstrates that mistakes, when accepted and healed, can become the most valuable part of one's journey. It's not about avoiding mistakes, but how we embrace them. When I look back at my past mistakes, I realize that each one taught me something new about myself, about life, and about how to treat others. Let mistakes be valuable lessons, not burdens to carry. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, whether it is a friendship, a romantic relationship, or a working relationship. When a lie is not confessed, it is like a small crack in the surface of a glass. Initially, it may not cause an immediate breakage, but over time, the pressure builds up and the glass cracks, making it impossible to mend. A lie, no matter how small, has the potential to destroy a relationship that has lasted for decades because it shakes the prerequisites for maintaining stability. Truth and trust. I believe that the loss of trust not only damages the relationship between two people, but also causes the liar to destroy himself. The liar often feels the anxiety of being discovered, lives in insecurity, and cannot enjoy peace of mind. This can lead to a vicious cycle. To cover up the initial lie, they have to continue to create more lies, making the rift wider and harder to repair. Buddhism teaches that every action, whether good or bad, creates karma. A lie, if not acknowledged and corrected, not only affects the current relationship, but also sows the seeds for future consequences. Its effects do not stop in one life, but can spread across many lives, like a never-ending cycle of cause and effect. I'm reminded of a story in Buddhist scriptures about a wealthy merchant who lied to keep his ill-gotten wealth. Although he escaped punishment in this life, he suffered dire consequences in his next life. He was reborn as a poor person, living in constant deprivation and anxiety. This emphasizes that the consequences of wrongdoing are not easy to escape, because the law of cause and effect is never wrong. From practical experience, I have found that facing and correcting mistakes is the only way to break the negative chain of cause and effect. When a person courageously confesses his mistakes, he not only frees himself from the psychological burden, but also prevents possible bad consequences in the future. This is like pulling weeds from the roots. Although it takes effort, it brings clean and fertile soil for good things to grow. Mistakes that are not corrected are like wounds that are not healed. They may be covered up temporarily, but the pain will be dull and persistent. People may try to cover it up or avoid it, but their inner self always records their every action. Over time, the feeling of guilt will be like a growing tumor, causing both physical and mental pain. I once witnessed a friend living in torment because she had hidden a small mistake from her family. At first, she thought she could let it go without admitting it, but the feeling of insecurity and fear of being discovered kept her from sleeping well. After many years, she decided to tell the truth, and surprisingly, her family not only forgave her, but also thanked her for her honesty. It was from that moment that she felt true liberation, lightness, peace, and freedom. A mistake is not the end. What matters is how we face and deal with it. Confessing the truth, although difficult, is a courageous and admirable act. It not only saves the relationship, but also helps each person find peace of mind. I believe that when we live honestly and take responsibility for our actions, we not only create happiness for ourselves, but also spread positive energy to those around us. The truth may hurt for a moment, but it will heal in the long run. Meanwhile, a lie may cover up temporarily, but will always leave wounds that will never heal. In the journey of being human, no one is immune to mistakes. However, instead of denying or avoiding them, we can start by admitting that we have made a mistake. This action is not only a sign of courage, but also an opportunity to cultivate compassion for ourselves. The Buddha once said, "All beings have the potential to become enlightened, and every mistake is an opportunity to grow." This quote reminds us that no mistake is meaningless. Instead of blaming ourselves harshly, consider mistakes as a companion on the path of self-discovery. Admitting mistakes is not a form of self-deprecation, but an opening, helping us to recognize the limitations in our perception and actions. Seen from this perspective, every mistake carries within it the potential to help us grow. Just as seeds need dark soil to germinate, so too do humans need moments of failure to reveal their ability to transform and improve. Once you have recognized your mistake, the next step is to take action. Apologize if you have hurt someone, and more importantly, let that apology come from your heart. A sincere apology is not only a moral expression, but also a healing medicine for both parties. Imagine a builder who made a mistake in the design of a bridge. Initially, he was afraid and thought of avoiding responsibility, but in the end, he decided to face it. He corrected his mistake, and as a result, the bridge not only stood firm, but also became his proudest work. This story proves that there is no mistake that cannot be fixed if we dare to face it and take action to correct it. For mistakes that cannot be corrected directly, changing your attitude and making efforts in the future is also a way to make amends. For example, if you have failed in a major project, learn from that experience and apply it to the next project. The important thing is that you don't stand still, but keep moving forward. Mistakes are not just scars, they are valuable books. Instead of avoiding them, invite them into your life as teachers. The lessons from mistakes are often more ingrained in your mind than any advice or book. Think about the first time you failed to learn a new skill, such as playing a musical instrument. You may have hit the wrong note, felt confused or embarrassed. But it was from those failures that you learned to adjust your fingers, listen to the melody, and eventually become more proficient. Likewise, every area of life requires mistakes to grow. The Buddha taught that every mistake is an opportunity to grow, but that growth does not come from mechanically correcting mistakes. It requires a fundamental change in perception and attitude. Ask yourself, what does this mistake teach me about myself? Can I use this lesson to help others? If you do that, every mistake will become a gem in your life's inventory. Ultimately, the greatest lesson from admitting mistakes is learning to love yourself even when you are not perfect. Compassion is not only for others, but also for yourself. When you forgive and love yourself, you will easily inspire others to do the same. Imagine a master teaching his student the art of pottery. When the student cracks a vase, instead of scolding him, the master just smiles and says, "Look, this crack makes the vase special. Turn it into a unique design." That is the spirit of compassion, not to hide the cracks, but to turn them into special highlights. One hot summer afternoon, when his anger was overflowing, Arun accidentally said some harsh words to his mother. Those words, though fleeting, were deeply engraved in her heart. Not long after, Arun's mother suddenly passed away from a serious illness, leaving him with deep and lasting regret. Since the day his mother passed away, Arun has been immersed in the darkness of self-reproach. He could not stop thinking about the words he had said, feeling as if he had caused the ultimate pain to the person who gave birth to him. During sleepless nights, he often asked himself, "What should I do to make up for my mistakes? How can I ease this pain?" We often think that making amends is something very big, but sometimes it is simply a small but meaningful action, a tireless effort to fix the past. It could be a sincere apology, helping others, or simply living a kinder life every day. Mistakes are not scary. The scary thing is not facing them. This is an important lesson that everyone needs to remember in life. Mistakes are not the end, but stepping stones that help us move forward. They do not define who we are, but are opportunities to learn and grow as long as we know how to take advantage of them. However, this requires courage, the courage to face them, and the willingness to accept that we can be wrong. Mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. Mistakes are a natural part of life. No one can go through life without making mistakes. The mistakes we make can be valuable lessons if we know how to look at them with the right mindset. For example, successful entrepreneurs often emphasize that it was their initial failures that taught them important lessons to move forward. A failure is not a sign of weakness, but a reminder that we are still learning and need to improve. Not only that, mistakes also teach us humility. When we admit we are wrong, we show honesty and a willingness to change. This is a prerequisite for maturity. A person who does not dare to admit mistakes will forever be stuck in conservatism, complacency, and will hardly be able to move forward. Courage to correct mistakes is the key. It is not only recognizing mistakes, but also the action of correcting them that is most important. The courage to correct mistakes is a great power, helping us change the situation and transform negative experiences into positive ones. This is not easy, because it requires facing feelings of shame, hurt, or even criticism from others. But if we do not do it, we will never free ourselves from the burdens created by mistakes. This courage also means that we accept responsibility for our actions. This is a sign of true maturity. A person who can boldly say, "I was wrong, and I will fix it," will certainly gain more respect and trust from others than a person who always finds ways to blame. Life is constantly moving, and every day is a new beginning. Today's mistakes do not mean that we cannot do better tomorrow. The important thing is not to get stuck in the past. Look forward and find ways to turn the coming days into opportunities to start over. There is a saying, "Failure is just the opportunity to begin again more intelligently." That is true. Time is a reliable companion, always giving us the opportunity to do it again. What is needed is perseverance and self-confidence. Do not forget that our path is never locked by a mistake. The choice is always in our hands, to keep moving forward or to stand still. If we choose to move forward, we must carry with us the clarity of mind and the sincerity of heart. These two elements are the guiding compass, helping us not only avoid repeating old mistakes, but also discover new opportunities. In my opinion, mistakes are actually an indispensable part of the journey of life. We cannot expect everything to be perfect from the beginning. If we do not make mistakes, we will never know where we really need to improve. In Buddhist philosophy, mistakes are seen as karma, lessons that we need to go through to achieve enlightenment and liberation. Life is like a river, sometimes calm, sometimes rough. Mistakes are the rocks in that flow, helping us find the strength to steer our boat. Instead of being afraid, learn to appreciate the lessons they bring. Mistakes are not scary, because we all have the opportunity to correct and move forward. The scariest thing is to avoid them, because they make us stand still or step back. Face your mistakes with courage, learn from them, and use each day to become a better version of yourself. The road ahead is always open to those who dare to walk with a clear mind and a sincere heart.